All right, now a Kennewick man was in court yesterday. He says he did nothing wrong, but this 21-year-old man is accused of stalking the adult daughter of Senator Nikki Torres, Republican from Pasco. His name is Trevor Delorme. He's charged with a gross misdemeanor related to back on April 30th when he admits he sat outside the house of Nikki Torres's daughter for about 5 hours that day and at least a couple of other days as well, taking some photos, maybe some video um, for this house. The goal was here, from his perspective, to make sure that Senator Torres wasn't living at that house. She owns the house, but her daughter and her granddaughter, her 6-year-old granddaughter, live there at that house. Now, after Nikki Torres's daughter noticed this guy lurking outside the house and taking pictures, she alerted police. The guy ended up being arrested and, again, as I said, charged with this gross misdemeanor. And he had an appearance in Franklin County Court on Wednesday. And he spoke to the Tri-City Herald just after that court hearing. And here's part of that.
I guess auditing, conducting a voter challenge, as a part of our rights. That's what we have, to question our elected officials, to kind of track whether or not they're being truthful. So I took this up on my own volition to conduct this voter challenge, as Rick Weiss has. The only thing that the Gabe Galbraith campaign has really helped me on is, answering any questions I have or guidance that I need support on for conducting this challenge. Well, I mean, like I said, it's part of our rights. We can question our elected officials without persecution. And personally, I don't want to be represented by someone and 200,000 other constituents by someone who is jumping around the district. I did nothing wrong. This is a protected activity, and the fact that these charges have been brought against me is bogus.
So he has admitted that he stopped outside that house on more than one occasion and was taking photographs of the house, but he denies that he was taking photos of Senator Torres's 26-year-old daughter or 6-year-old granddaughter. But again, all this centers around the fact that Senator Torres relocated to that 8th legislative district so she could run for another term. You may recall she was gerrymandered out of the district she has represented since 2023, the 15th legislative district. And now, as a result of relocating, she can run in the 8th legislative district. The contention there coming from her challenger, Gabe Galbraith. He is the president of the Kennewick School Board. He's also a Republican. It's just them head to head in this contest. No Democrat running against them. And the question here is, how much did the campaign of Gabe Galbraith have to do with setting this 21-year-old kid out to try and catch Senator Torres? Was she living there where home she owns, but where her daughter is, or where is she living where she is now registered as a candidate to run in the 8th district? So I spoke this morning to Senator Torres about all of this chaos and the man who's accused of stalking her daughter.
Yeah, she called me after the fact. She had called the police, and just for the record too, my daughter is an adult. She's 26. They've been having part of that group that's part of the Benton County Republican Party, and Gabe Galbraith's campaign supporters. They've been going to the Franklin County Commissioner meetings and just misinterpreting information and pretty much lying on public record and during public comment, and saying that my daughter is a teenager. She is not a teenager. She is a 26-year-old woman with a 6-year-old daughter. And so I was at an event at the Tri-Citian of the Year when she was sending me messages and tried to call me, and I couldn't answer her. But I went out afterwards and I answered her when I could. And she said she had already called the police, and that the situation was being taken care of, but that there was somebody that had been outside of her house and she caught them like recording her. So she was very upset because she's been through a lot. And when someone, oh, especially a woman with a child, sees or gets the attention or notices somebody is outside and is very visibly recording her and her child, yeah, she's going to call the cops.
Now, again, the challenger for Senator Torres in that 8th District Senate contest is the president of the Kennewick School Board, Gabe Galbraith. And he provided a statement to us late on Wednesday. And here's part of that. We'll put it up for you. He said, many constituents have questions about where Nikki Torres resides and whether she meets the residency requirements to represent the 8th Legislative District. The clearest way to address those questions would be for Nikki Torres to publicly provide documentation without a shadow of a doubt that establishes her residency in the 8th District and the length of time she has lived there. Now, again, I'm not putting up her address, but she has provided residency requirements to the Public Disclosure Commission to make her a qualified candidate for the 8th District. Now, I reached out to Representative Jim Walsh late on Wednesday when I found out about all of this to find out, where do you come down? Are you supporting the incumbent, Senator Torres? Are you supporting her Republican challenger, Gabe Galbraith? And he basically said they're not taking a side in this. He said he likes both of them, thinks they're both, very respectable candidates, and they don't want to really, come out one way or the other. He blames the judge, Judge Lasnik, who redistricted Senator Torres out of her district a couple of years ago, for what he says orchestrating the infighting in the party. I guess if that was the goal, it certainly has been successful. But Chairman Walsh did attend a campaign event for Senator Torres on Monday night in the Tri-Cities, and here's what he said at that event.
The reason all the crazy redistricting happened, starting up in Yakima and then kind of reverberating down here, was because of her. The Democrats wanted to get rid of Nikki from the legislature, and they started playing with the lines of the districts to try to get her out. So it's also kind of a grudge match for that. You've got the envelopes on your tables. Fill them out here, but also take them with you and give those envelopes to people in your family, at work, wherever you go, because it's going to be tough. But I think she's up for a tough fight. And it's important that we don't let the Democrats manipulate our legislative districts to their benefit. Their goal was to get rid of her. Do you want to let them win?
Now, Senator Torres told me in our exclusive interview that people have made an issue about her moving, from the 15th to the 8th so that she could continue to represent her constituents. She says they don't really understand how all of this gerrymandering worked. She believes she was specifically the target. She wasn't the only fallout from this, as many other candidates ended up being, district out of their representative districts. But the whole idea from the judge was that we need to have the Latino community in that part of the state have more of a say in who's representing them. Keep in mind, Senator Torres is herself Hispanic. But as she's told me in the past, in interviews we've done, she says, maybe I'm not Hispanic enough, according to the judge. The judge did order that redistricting. But she says people need to understand that she's really just trying to continue to represent the constituents who originally elected her to office.
People that don't follow much of anything other than national news half the time. So they have no idea that there was a gerrymandering of the districts that took place. And I said very clearly, and I've spoken with you several times as well about the gerrymandering of the district and how I was planning to move and run because I am going to stay and fight. I am not putting up with this gerrymandering crap. I think it is very important for me, for someone like me who's been the most impacted by the gerrymandering of the districts, to be able to push back and say, hey, I'm still here. I'm still going to fight. I still want to speak up for my community of the Tri-Cities in Olympia and make sure that we have a voice.
Now, the current senator in the 8th district is also a Republican, Matt Behnke. He's now running for the U.S. House, a seat that has been held by Representative Dan Newhouse. Newhouse is not seeking reelection. So Behnke is seeking Newhouse's seat. That opened up the 8th for Senator Torres and the challenger, Gabe Galbraith. Now, given there's no Democrat in this race, both of them will move on after the August 4th primary, which is a top two primary, regardless of the outcome. So they will both advance to the November election. We'll be watching that race very closely.